Welcome to Talking Trek. My name is Kevin Tocci with Russ Hannagan. And behind the John camera, John Grillo.
Hi.
This is here at Studio B, Whitman Hanson Community Access right here in Whitman. And we like to get together every now and then, the group of us.
Well, it seems like deja vu.
It's like deja vu. It's, you know what, I can tell you the dress rehearsal went well. But we're looking forward to a fantastic show, just to kind of tease what we got on tap. You're probably looking and go, what the heck is with the Batman silhouettes? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Adam West and his passing as he passed on June 9th. We're the three of us, maybe you at home, we're big fans. We're going to talk a little bit about his career. We had a chance to catch up with John Astin, who played the Riddler not once but twice. Talk a little bit about Carrie Fisher. Her passing, yeah, I know it was last year, but the autopsy results weren't released, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Second segment, it's kind of one of my favorite segments on The Big Bang Theory, where Adam West is driving along with the gang, and they talk about their favorite individuals who've donned the cowl, who have played Batman. And so we're going to do that. We're all going to list our people who we think are the best Batman, whether they were in the TV series or in the movie. And also, besides Batman and Robin, fantastic dynamic duo, we're going to name off some of sci-fi's best dynamic duos. Close out the show, we'll also do some movie reviews on Wonder Woman and Guardians of the Galaxy, and even do some coming attractions along with the upcoming Comic-Cons and Paranorm Cons here on Talking Trek. And we should start out of the box and talk a little bit about Adam West and his passing. And it's almost like with my parents when President John F. Kennedy passed away. It was like, where were you? Russ, where were you when you heard the word that Adam West was no longer with us?
I was on Facebook talking to my geek friends, and they were the ones who first pointed it out to me. And yeah, it was depressing to find out. Adam West, let's face it, the most iconic of all the Batmans. Sure. But and he was doing other comic book or cartoons of Batman, which I'm looking forward to seeing. John.
Yes, anytime now. Don't worry about it.
Anytime now. John's going to loan it to me just as soon as he gets back from his other friend, who also hasn't returned it to him.
Yes.
Right.
But
that's in the works.
Yes, it is. But I mean, you say phrases like, attention citizen, and you immediately think Adam West, and the way he phrased Batman, the way he dealt with Batman. He just had a whole persona to him.
Absolutely. John, where were you?
Actually, I was at work, and my wife had texted me, and so I couldn't cry or anything. And it's one of those things where you're right. It's like the passing of a legend.
Yeah.
When somebody that's so iconic has been around for so long, and I mean, maybe Batman was only on television for 3 years, but it's 3 years in every child's life that everybody remembers. I mean, even my daughter, who's only 18 now, remembers Adam West because we watched him when she was younger.
Sure.
So it's one of those things that it hits you because you think about the fact that, geez, I've known this guy for 50 years of my life.
Sure.
Maybe not personally, but professionally and entertainment-wise.
Yeah, he came into your living room as Batman.
Absolutely. So it's a sad thing.
Yeah, growing up, it was one of those series along with the original Star Trek, watching Batman, and it was so much
in
like
color.
In color.
Yeah.
But, I was somebody who collected comic books. So, to see something that I would see in the comic books, it was somewhat like it was a parody of a comic book with the bangs and the crashes and, you knew the bad guy was near because of the camera was tilted, or, when they're walking up the side of a building to sneak up on a criminal. Or try to catch somebody.
Yeah, but it was an appreciated series. One thing that I remember was Frank Gorshin actually appeared on a Star Trek episode as Commissioner Beale. And somebody pointed this out to me. There's a scene from Star Trek that relates back to Batman where Star Trek was paying an homage to the original Batman series. On that episode, they have the red alert light flashing, And they did a camera zoom in and out, which was a classic
10.
move on the original Batman series. And that was the director from Star Trek paying a little tribute to Gorshin's role in the original Batman series with Adam West, which I thought was kind of neat.
Yeah, I loved him not only in that, but you and I, we learned in the dress rehearsal that both of us had a fondness for a movie that he did, Robinson Crusoe on
Yes.
Mars, where he was actually Colonel Dan McGreedy.
Yes.
But we disagreed because you saw it as a cameo, seeing that this show is called Talking Trek. I liken him to being one of the original red shirts, seeing that he died when his capsule crashed.
Yes, true. But you could still consider him a red shirt and still a cameo of a red shirt because he really did not have a lot of dialogue. Once they landed on Mars,
I thought him and the monkey had some words. What, am I wrong here? Did you not see the same movie I did?
get your stinking paws off me.
Oh, that's definitely the wrong movie.
Sorry.
No, you're a movie off. But and as you see the silhouettes, that's the idea behind it.
Yes.
Try to get it as close as possible. I will tell you that it took some time to do using a soda can. I could call MacGyver, by John because I used a soda can, and this is my tracer, and basically they're being beamed out through it's a replacement
How to
gobo.
make your own bat signal. And later Martha Stewart will show us.
Very nice.
It is effective, although yours is better than mine.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Batman.
But no, it's worthy of talking about that. And I was fortunate enough, call it timely if you want, but John Astin, who we all know as Gomez Addams in the original Addams Family, also, not once but twice, was in the Batman series, season 2. He played
And
the Riddler.
what other comic series was he in? Feeling much better now.
Ooh, tell me.
Night Court.
Oh yeah, Buddy
Court.
Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm
Well, you
much
say-
better now.
Well, I thought you meant like it was in like another comic book-esque movie, so to speak. But so what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll a clip that I did. I did an interview with John, who was in town for a charity event, and I was able to talk with him about playing the Riddler and working with Adam West. Working with Adam West. Folks probably don't know that you, for one season, played the Riddler.
No, just 2 episodes. That's
Doesn't
all.
matter. You still
Yeah.
did it.
I had a great
Once
time.
is an accident.
I had
Twice it was meant to be.
I had a great time doing it. I enjoyed it.
What was it like working with a guy like Adam West? We know that he recently passed, and folks are mourning his passing. How well did you know him?
Well, I had done a number of things with Adam. He had, well, we enjoyed, working on Batman, but I had known him a little before that, and then after Batman, he did a guest shot on a series I was doing at the time called Operation Petticoat.
Yep.
And he was always a very intelligent, witty actor, and they could never have found anybody as perfect for that role as Adam was. He was truly very funny in that part. And he played it straight enough so that all the kids perhaps didn't get the humor, but
It was memorable.
saw him as a superhero and loved watching the show.
Hands down, probably the best Batman, whether it's TV series or the movies. Let's not forget. Not only was
and
it a
also
series,
the approach.
right.
Lorenzo Semple, who wrote the first episode of that and a number of the better episodes, had a great talent as a writer, and also a good friend of mine was one of the writers on that show, Stanley Ralph Ross, who actually was a former writing partner. We worked together at one point. And Stanley did all kinds of stuff. He wrote so many things. Wrote that musical about Chaplin, and was a good friend. I remember I had tickets to the very first Super Bowl, and my then wife did not want to go, and my kids weren't quite old enough to appreciate that kind of ticket. And so I asked Stanley if he wanted to go. Oh, yeah. And so we always commemorated Super Bowl Day as an anniversary of our having seen that first one.
And again, we thank John Aston for that interview. It's a lengthier interview, and then, yes, I do ask about Morticia, the actress who played Morticia.
You don't interview Gomez Adams and not ask him about Morticia. Come on.
I will tell you, though, that what's funny is that he, at the end of that, you hear him referencing the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Being a
First
professor,
Super Bowl.
The first Super Bowl. Being a professor down at Johns Hopkins University and teaching acting. He's also a big Baltimore Ravens fan, I learned, and Baltimore Orioles. So it was great to talk with him about that. Seeing that we're talking about iconic stars passing away, we're talking about Adam West. It was also just released that the reason as to the passing of Carrie Fisher, who died late last year. And from the report, it's they're calling it a combination of sleep apnea, and she also was showing signs of taking multiple drugs, but they couldn't determine exactly if they contributed directly to her passing. Your thoughts, John and Russ, as to, is this something that was needed to be released? Was it necessary, or could it have
I don't think so.
been withheld?
Personal opinion, I don't think it does anything. I do have some friends that disagree with me very strongly on it, saying that her death is now an example, but we've had so many examples of so many other celebrities that have died. I just feel that it's not necessary. I think she had a one-person show that she did, which exposed her whole past, both the negatives and the positives. And I think that did more to highlight the rough lives that people go through, both through celebrity and just drug abuse and everything else, that I think that contributed more to being a warning sign than some medical report that just somebody had to put out there because, God forbid, we should just let them die and let them rest in peace. We have to kick a little dirt on their grave.
Unfortunately, that's part of the celebrity value. I don't know if that's the right word, but when you're a celebrity, you're under a microscope.
Yeah.
And I know, like you were saying, that did there even need to be an autopsy? And, with my profession, everybody knows that what I do. And unfortunately, when somebody dies young, and 62 is young, absolutely, all day, every day. In today's day and age, 62 is very young. They're going to do that because they're looking to make sure that a person died of a more natural cause than something of a nefarious cause, and that's my fancy college word for the night, nefarious, and make sure nothing out of the ordinary caused the person's death. Now, did she need an autopsy? Yes, because you want to make sure nothing nefarious or out of the ordinary took place. Did it need to be publicized? No,
I don't think
of course not. If I died today, they'd do an autopsy on me. Would there be a news story on me? No, of course not. I'm not a celebrity. But
you aren't?
You aren't, all right.
Oh, I thought you were.
In my own circles. And this is the whole circle. Oh. So, but needless to say, unfortunately, in celebrities' lifestyles, that's what it is. And I blame the news people, the media. They're the ones always looking for a story, and if it's not a negative story, it's not a story, and it seems like in today's day and age.
Well, you think of it, since the creation, Ted Turner, and the creation of the 24-hour news cycle, how many times have you turned on CNN or MSNBC, and they're beating something into the ground because they have
to death.
They need content.
Right.
And so, something like this, sure, I can get 12 hours out of this.
But the sad thing is, I read the same news story you did about her death. It doesn't even talk about illicit drugs. It just talks about drugs. Now, we all know because of her many illnesses, and especially a mental illness that she talked about very openly, she was probably on a lot of drugs for that purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't say in there that like she died of a heroin overdose. I mean, which is obviously today's big hotbed, or even some other pills. You know, I mean, it just says that she had a lot of medication or pills in her system.
Well,
I
if
would
if
still find it amazing that if she died of a heroin overdose, who was on a plane flying back to the United States, I really don't think anybody shoots up on a 747, but I might be wrong.
Let me interject here. It says here in the article that we have is that she had long battled drug addiction, mental illness, smoked pot at 13, LSD at 21, and was diagnosed as being bipolar at 24, and also was treated with electroshock therapy and medication. So, I mean, this is somebody who has had to
deal with a lot of
endure
demons.
a lot. But but you know, notice how like they're talking about pot at 13. The woman was 62 when she died. You know, I mean, and if she was still smoking pot at 62, I mean, I don't know, but that's what makes the story a sensational story. But to me, it's also a negative story. That's an unnecessary negative story.
But I would go with John on that.
But you think about those people who have invested in anybody. You look at throughout time, whether it's a Janis Joplin or Jimi Hendrix or
Kurt
any
Cobain,
other
Elvis.
Presley. You name it. You know, people who have invested and who have followed these individuals throughout their career. And for them, I think if anything, it helps the fan base know that I think it helps them to conclude, close the book on that individual.
I disagree, but I respect your opinion. I just disagree. I don't think it was needed. I think people who like her are going to continue to like her, and if anything, it's just going to simply annoy them, the fact that this was pointed out.
Okay.
Because most people would accept the fact that she had a rough life, and of course, why do you even need to tell us that she had a rough life?
Okay. You again are watching a Talking Trek. We're going to step aside just for a moment, but when we come back, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to attempt to, it's going to be a struggle. It worked well in the dress rehearsal, that's for sure, we're going to try to rank the top actors who have donned the cowl. We're going to give there's 6 that we have here listed, and do our very best. Again, you're watching Talking Trek. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to Talking Trek. This is our second segment, and in this particular segment, as I teased before we went to our
teasing.
Quick break here, what we're going to attempt to do in just a moment is list off some of the individuals who have played Batman, and we're also going to talk about best dynamic duos. We're going to do that as well. So we'll start with Russ. Russ, here are the list of individuals that we know from our generation.
In no particular order.
In no particular order, who have worn the cowl, had the cape, had the cool toys, the cool cars, the bat plane.
Nice toys.
Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, and Adam West. Mayor Adam West.
Yep.
List them if you will. Who is your quintessential Batman? Go.
Michael Keaton would be my quintessential Batman because he was my generation. And the reason I like Michael is because the fact that he was so harangued when he originally got the role. A lot of people were criticizing, he's a comedian, he's going to be terrible, blah, blah, blah. But he ended up really owning that part. And I find it ironic that after they moved on to the next Batman, the same people who were criticizing him as being Batman were saying, oh, he's going to be this next actor is not going to be any Michael Keaton. And Michael Keaton went on to defend the next Batman, saying, hey, guys, you were attacking me when I first started in the role. You just don't remember it. Give this guy a break. Give him a chance. So that's why I respect Keaton, because he took a role which was campy by Adam West's presentation, which nothing wrong with that.
Big shoes to fill, though.
Big shoes to fill, but managed to fill them in a unique, different way. So I would definitely rate him as 1.
Okay.
2, Adam West. Can't go any further. Got to put him up there because Adam West, Batman. He didn't have to say I'm Batman. Anywhere he went, they knew he was Batman. Dead last.
Wow.
I'd have to put Val Kilmer. I'm sorry, but he was not Batman. Not by any way. Not Batman. And then a tie for third between Ben Affleck and Christian Bale, I'd have to say, because I like them both. I thought they both did a nice job in their presentations and the characters they played. So that would be my list.
All right, where does George Clooney rank?
Kind of scary, but I put him back there in a tie for last with Val Kilmer.
Really?
Sorry.
Well, you know, just to throw my 2 cents worth in on that, I got to defend.
You can have a
it.
full 6 cents.
That's very nice of you.
He sees dead actors.
I'll give you 4 cents change when I'm done. Basically, Val Kilmer and George Clooney kind of got screwed as far as I'm concerned. I think they are both decent actors. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. I think their storylines weren't as good as the original Batmans with Michael Keaton, and they went more of the campy route with the neon lights and all that kind of stuff, and of course the nipples on the bat suit was ridiculous. And you know, so but you can't blame the actors for the direction that those movies took.
I think they could have said something. I think the actors can raise a stink when they think a character or a role is going in the wrong direction. So,
Well, Val Kilmer's wasn't as bad as George Clooney's. You know, it was just one of those things. And even George Clooney himself says, "I'm the man that single-handedly destroyed the Batman franchise." But
he has said that.
I don't blame him. I blame the director Joel Schumacher, who did both of those movies, for going more campy when everybody was expecting more Dark Knight, like the Keaton films, and then ultimately the Bale films.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to do opposite of what you two gentlemen did. And I'm going to start from my least favorite Batman to my favorite. And unlike the dress rehearsal, I want a drum roll. Not from you.
Oh, I just broke the glasses.
Good practice. You broke something, but
Sorry.
okay. That'll have
Such a
to.
good drum roll, you broke the glasses.
Oh, sorry about that.
I'll cue you, John.
Oh.
So we're going to start with the one individual who did not make my top 5. While he can sell a heck of a espresso machine, and he's pretty darn good in the Ocean's movies, he just didn't do it for Batman. Do it for me for Batman, and that's George Clooney. He just didn't do it. Okay, almost sitting right there with him, Val Kilmer.
Well, then I agree with you.
I loved Val in Thunderheart. I really, really did.
But that wasn't a
Especially when he was
Batman
hanging
role.
out with the dog. Loved the movie and traded his glasses to the old man for, a turtle.
He was
shell.
even good in Real Genius, Val Kilmer.
I guess.
Top secret.
But those two, so
Top
those
secret.
two go 6-5. Number 4, I would put number 4. This is tough because Christian Bale. Actually, no, not Christian Bale. I probably would make Ben Affleck number 4. Reason being is that I feel that he hasn't done enough. He's only done the one movie.
Insufficient data.
Insufficient data. So he was gosh darn good in Dawn of Justice, Batman versus Superman. Whoever knew that these two could square off and that Batman would even have a chance?
Yeah.
He did.
And he was good in the little cameo he did in Suicide
It was dark.
Squad.
I would put Adam West. Nobody gasped in the room. Adam West. I liked him, but I just feel that there's 2 other individuals who were better. They surpassed him. The other thing is that Adam West, the way he reminded me a lot of William Shatner with his pauses.
But again, that's where it came up. He came up in that 60s generation where campy became iconic.
Commissioner, I'll be there in a few minutes. It's like, it just didn't do it for me. So, even though we lost him, Adam West is 3. Number 2, Christian Bale. Christian, I think, did a great job with the Dark Knight trilogy. He added something to it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some of the storytelling helped along with his acting chops. So he gets number 2. I would have been okay if he did the Dawn of Justice as well. I think he probably deserved it, but Ben did okay too. Number 1, I agree with you. Michael Keaton was a gosh darn good Batman, and I was kind of bummed when they changed actors and went in a different direction. So those are mine. Now, do either one of you know who Lewis Wilson is?
Nope.
I have heard of him, but I've never seen any of the work
Okay.
that he played Batman in.
Our director, who is doing a great job, made sure he told me that he every now and then watches the Turner Classic Network, and then it pops on a Saturday morning, and that there's like a 15 to 20 episode, or there's a series that is done in the mid
movie
'40s.
serials.
Movie
when you would
serials.
go to the theater, you'd get a 5 or 6 minute little movie serial. So you'd go back each week to find out what Batman was doing.
So we actually just showed a couple of photos of Lewis Wilson. Now, I believe before we move on to Best Dynamic Sci-Fi Duos, John has a complaint that we omitted from our list. An individual.
It depends on your point of view. You said you didn't like it, the fact that it wasn't an acting part, but I defend it because I think that the actor named Kevin Conroy, who is the voice of Batman in all of the Batman animated series, and including Batman Beyond, he was the older Bruce Wayne, bringing the younger boy on to become the new Batman. And then even all of the video games that are out right now, Kevin Conroy has been probably the longest running actor to portray Batman, even though he's just the voice.
So I'm going to give you an opportunity that we didn't have in dress rehearsal.
Okay.
If you could slot him in the in this category, where would you slot him 1 through 7? Who would you bump?
Well, my list is similar to you guys. Michael Keaton, number 1. Christian Bale, number 2. In deference to Adam West, actually, number 3 is going to be Kevin Conroy.
Okay.
I would put him right up there. That's how much I think he did a great job. I mean, the question becomes, is just a voice a good actor? And I think it is, because anyone out there who has watched the animated series of Batman, that voice is just as iconic as any other voice where, let's just think about this. Would Darth Vader be the bad guy he was if James Earl Jones hadn't done his voice? No. Has anybody ever seen the film clips of David Prowse's voice when they're just acting?
It made me laugh. Yes, I have seen it, and yes, it did make me laugh.
What's funny is haven't they since omitted him? So no longer do you actually see, since they've done the prequels, it's a different Anakin. Since they've done the prequels, you notice that, right?
Well, that's because they had to make him
David
younger.
Prowse was
actor.
never shown, never shown as Darth Vader with his mask off, and that was one of his big complaints, was that he was never shown with the mask removed. That's one thing that he's always had contention with.
But take away the actor. Just I want you to think about the voice. Vader's character with James Earl Jones' voice was amazing. Everybody recognizes it.
You can also predate Lewis Wilson and go back to the radio series for Batman, which aired. And I'm sure there had to have been an iconic voice for that particular Batman as well.
Right, but I don't know it.
And neither do I.
Never heard it.
In all honesty, neither do I.
Right. So, but I mean, when it comes to iconic voices, I mean, any kid who grew up watching the animated series, or any kid today playing Batman video games, if they heard his voice, would know exactly that he's Batman.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's all I have to
good to know.
throw in there.
Worth mentioning.
All right,
and
let's shuffle along. And go in the spirit of talking about dynamic duos like Batman and Robin. Let's talk about, and this was Russ's idea. Talk a little bit about dynamic duos of sci-fi. Give us tick off your first couple on your list, as we have time for this segment.
Okay. Well, from the TV series and one movie and one season, Firefly. Malcolm Reynolds and his first officer, Zoe Washburn. I just thought that they were wonderful together. They bounced off each other, and the actors just did a fantastic job. So it would definitely be the two characters from Firefly. And because I am part Whovian, I'd have to go with Doctor Who. Recently I've been watching a lot of the David Tennant episodes, but I did grow up on Baker. So Baker still, they always say you never forget your first Doctor. My original Doctor is always Baker. I always go back to him for the jelly babies. Okay. But Tennant, I thought, did a nice twist on the role, and Donna and Rose, which were two of his companions.
Our sound engineer, Amy, is giving you a high five. She's a Doctor Who fan.
Nice to know.
So you're getting some reaction from the control room. Continue. Let's do. Is that it?
Okay, well, no, I can name a
One more,
couple.
one more.
Okay, one more, then I'd have to go with a rather unusual dynamic
Oh,
duo.
here we go.
2001, Hal 9000 and Dave.
Okay.
They were the hero and the anti-hero.
Dr. Dave Bowman.
Yes, astronaut Dave Bowman, who might have been Dr. Dave Bowman. But Hal and Dave were at odds with each other, and it was who was going to outwit who. Who was going to win? Was it going to be artificial intelligence, or was it going to be human intelligence? And I do want to point out that John had brought up a very valid point prior to our taping, that dynamic duo shifted in the sequel to the film. John?
2010, between Dr. Chandra and Hal.
Yes.
Watching that movie, it's kind of chilling when the two of them are talking back and forth.
Yes.
Because it's almost like an unspoken conspiracy when they start talking to each other about how they're going to survive.
I think it was an unspoken love between the two of them.
Well,
They really did love each other.
Well, move on.
John.
Oh, we're not going to talk about the
not that-
unspoken love of
it's not that
Hal
type
and
of
Mr.
show.
Chandra.
We passed the magic stick on to John. John, pick off a couple of your dynamic duos of sci-fi.
Well, since like usual, I didn't come prepared, I'm going to steal from your list.
Well,
but-
I shared because moments before we did the dress rehearsal, I was able to put this together.
That's true. But on your list is actually one of my top 5 probably, and that's Mulder and Scully from the X-Files. 10 years, 2 movies, and now there's a resurgence where they're even making some new, I don't know if you want to call them mini seasons.
Miniseries.
Miniseries.
Yeah.
Not this past year, but last year they had a quick 6-episode segment, and they're filming another 6-episode segment this summer for probably next January, February release. It's thrilling to see them back in action, doing the things that they did, chasing the monsters and the aliens. And as far as conspiracy theories are concerned, it didn't get much bigger on television than the original X-Files when the two of them were going at it.
Well, you could go back and predate them with the Night Stalker and Carl Kolchak in the newspaper, which
Well,
they
ironically,
even say is
Chris
that
Carter arranged, a lot of what he did when he made the X-Files off of the Night
he even
Stalker.
said it was a bit of a homage to Carl
Absolutely.
Kolchak.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that it?
Well, that's my first one. My second one is I'm going to go to my robots. Me and my sci-fi spaceships and robots. I have to have them. And C-3PO and R2-D2, of course.
Yes.
It doesn't get much better than a dynamic duo with them. And they're peppered throughout all the movies, but there's nothing quite like watching the two of them alone. Arguing about something, and R2-D2's
R2 curses so much, though. They
beeping
bleep
all
everything
along.
on him.
That's true. They do bleep a lot. But and then C-3PO smacking the top of his head and telling him to cut it out. I mean, it doesn't get much better, when it comes to dynamic duos for me when it comes to robots than R2 and C-3PO. And then a third one, because my daughter would kill me if I didn't bring it up, would probably be Doc Brown and Marty McFly from Back to the Future. The two of them playing off of each other. Christopher Lloyd is crazy, and having Michael J. Fox ground him.
Who knew that Jim from Taxi?
The Jim from this is
Do you know how many peanut butter cookies I can put in my mouth once? I mean, great Scott.
no. Well,
Scott. I mean,
think about him doing Reverend Jim's voice in Star
oh
Trek
my
3.
God.
Captain Kirk,
Right.
I want Genesis. Give it to me.
Right.
You can't have
On
it.
the screen.
Okie doke.
Right.
Okay. It's still awesome though.
Yeah. I
Doesn't
mean,
get any better.
you had 3 Back to the Future, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, okay. What would this show be without us not talking about, Kirk and Spock? I feel that they are a quintessential dynamic duo.
But see, I disagree. I think it's Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, because the way they wrote it, Spock.
God damn it,
and
Ross! What are you
McCoy-
talking about?
Well, Spock and McCoy were both opposite ends of the spectrum. McCoy being totally emotion-filled and no logic, and Spock being total logic and no emotion. And Kirk was the middle ground. So I disagree that
think they're
just feel-
interchangeable.
I feel it was more of a trio. That they were the triumvirate. They were the 3 characters that interchanged with each other.
I'm going to agree with Russ on that. It was a trio.
You both suck. All right. All right, I'll go with another dynamic.
Says the man who's part of another trio here on set.
All right. Well, we're a dynamic duo on camera, so. Well, actually, no, that's wrong, because we have the John cam now, so.
Yeah.
I'm
we're
in.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're it. I'm going to go Lost in Space. Oh, Will. Dr. Smith. Well, and Will. Or if you want to do
Yeah.
Will and the Robot.
Yes.
So you can do either one of those.
Or Dr. Smith and the Robot. See, it's
Yeah.
almost another triumvirate.
You babbling booby you.
So that's the other one. And then I want to throw in, what's this? I'm getting a message from Sonia. I forgot to mention Neo and Morpheus from The Matrix.
Ooh.
So
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I'll
Definitely.
throw that in there.
That's a good one.
So
Blue pill, the red
you,
pill.
we still have a couple of moments left. You want to throw in one more?
Well, I think I want to mention Logan's Run. Jessica 6 and Logan 5.
Wait. The movie or the TV series?
The movie. I'm sorry, but I'm
You
a
didn't
movie.
like the TV series?
I did not like the way they moved as far as I'm concerned, the TV series had jumped the rails. But the movie I thought was very iconic, and I mean everybody always remembers when that
I had
little
6 more
thing
years. What'd you do?
turns red, it starts blinking, baby. You're out of there. You either seek sanctuary or you go for renewal on Carousel.
What is Sanctuary?
Yes, exactly.
John?
I'm going to throw in the Terminator and John Connor. I think that they were a very dynamic
T-800.
duo. Yes, absolutely.
And again, you're talking the hero and the anti-hero, and
Yes.
eventually the shifting of
Yes.
the bad guy becoming a good guy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do another attack on Russ's dandruff, and that is we're going to go with Han Solo and Chewbacca as another duo from.
Well, see, I would disagree just because Leia and her boyfriend. I'm just
All right.
saying they were. I mean, "I love you and I know" is such a classic line now.
Okay. I'm getting the high sign from the kids behind the glass that
Are you sure it's the high sign? It looked like. Well, never mind.
we are going to step aside, and when we come back, our final segment here on Talking Trek, where we're going to talk about movie reviews, coming attractions, and maybe some upcoming Comic Cons and Paranorm Cons. Right here on Talking Trek. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're here for our final segment of Talking Trek, which has been shot this time around in Studio B at Whitman Hanson Community Access and Women. Russ and John, thanks for beaming to this studio for this segment. While it's not as plush as East Bridgewater
Plush?
Community, well, you guys have a heck of a studio over there in East
You
Bridgewater.
remember what our old studio looked like, though?
That's why I'm saying it's
This
plush.
looked plush compared to the old studio.
All right, well,
No, this was the Taj Mahal compared to the old
Yes.
studio.
See, John will agree with me.
But it's thank you for letting the show go on the road, and for us to be able to do it, and we love doing the show. This time around, we're going to talk a little bit about movie reviews, movies that we may or may not have seen. Mm-hmm. 2 movies that we'll talk a little bit about: Wonder Woman and Guardians of the Galaxy V2. I will admit, I know, stepping into the confessional here, I did not go and see Wonder Woman yet.
You have sinned, my son.
Well, I would have went and seen it 5 hours ago, but I was in the middle of putting things together. So
And I was in line 5 hours ago, so
Do
you
3
wouldn't have got
acts
in.
of contrition and then go see Wonder Woman.
I was in the way.
Here's the thing: I was going to wait for it to come out on DVD. For the simple fact is, I'm struggling internally with the fact that I don't know if I want to see the new Captain Kirk, Christopher Pine, play Major Steve Trevor.
But you're
sad.
pigeonholing him. You're not giving him a chance to expand. You're
Listen, I saw him in the finest hours. I gave him more than.
Well,
No, that was a good movie, The Finest Hours.
Yeah.
The naval movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was wrong with that?
There was nothing wrong with it, but I was just afraid to see him in another sci-fi-esque movie.
Oh, you're crazy because it was good.
Maybe, but
I can tell you because 5 hours ago I watched it, and it was very well done. I thought of these new DC movies that are coming out, it's one of the best so far. I liked it even better than Dawn of Justice.
well,
It was
I
very well
judge
done.
a film
Really?
by judge a
Yes.
film by how many times I look at my watch. And watching Wonder Woman with Chris Pratt, and we all know how big a fan I am of his from the Star Trek movies.
No, not Chris Pratt. Chris
No,
Pine. Chris
Chris
Pratt's
Pine,
from
Chris Pine,
Guardians.
Chris Pine.
That's
See,
the
that's how
next
big a fan
movie.
is. I can't
Dun,
even
dun,
say his name
dun.
correctly.
that's the next movie.
But I'm just saying, I'm not a big fan of him as you are. But I
He was a fan
turned,
of his. I accepted that they rebooted Star Trek.
No, see, there's a Star Trek tie-in though, because think about this. All right, Captain Kirk, he gets all the space babes, right? All the space alien
Indeed he
hot
does.
chicks, right? Well, Chris Pine plays Captain Kirk, and he's now Steve Trevor. He
Trevor.
gets Wonder Woman in the movie. Hey.
Hey.
So there's your Captain Kirk tie-in right there. That's
Yeah.
only reason to go watch the movie now, as far as I'm
I
concerned. No.
think the actress who plays Wonder Woman does an astonishingly astonishingly great job. And Chris Pine, who I'm not a fan of, I'm sorry, loved him in this film. So if that doesn't show you that he's capable of stepping outside his Star Trek role and doing something really good.
I think you can waste the $11 and go see it.
I think you can. You can
or
even
hit a
buy
matinee
popcorn.
and
I
see it
could
for
wait.
$6.
I can wait another 2 weeks for it to come out on Netflix.
It'll be longer
I think
than
you
that.
won't enjoy it as much. There are some movies that I've always, in the back of my head, said, I wish I'd seen it in the theater.
It depends, because
And
I
this
actually
was
saw
one movie I'm glad I saw it in the theater.
Okay, all right. So
I'm glad I saw it. In
it
the
was
theater.
worth it.
With the audience around me, yes.
Okay. Was there, now we know that DC Comics is trying to chase after the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what they've done with a number, whether it's Thor, whether it's Iron Man, Captain America, using the Avengers vehicle to tie them all in and weave in and out. How well do you feel
I think
this has, and again, I know that it's telling the original story
Yeah.
of Dinah Prince.
It's an origin story.
It's
I
origin,
think.
yes.
I think.
I'm sorry,
if
I
I
didn't
was
use that word.
If I was Marvel, I would be
How
nervous.
nefarious of you.
Nefarious. Move along.
If I was Marvel, I'd be nervous right now because I'd be like,
What?
wow, DC is finally starting to get their act together. This was, I thought,
Did
an
you see Suicide
astonishingly
Squad?
good film. Yes, but I'd still be nervous. Just because you put out a quality product, then you turn around and you see your competitor put out a quality product, you should still be nervous.
What was the matter with Suicide Squad?
Nothing was wrong with it.
I thought it was well done.
I thought it was well done too.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
I thought it was well done.
You profess to be a comic book movie fan, but I wonder.
What? Because I'm not falling all over myself for it? Come on.
One of my favorite.
Well,
If I
listen,
say something, if I think something's bad, I say it's bad.
and I'm saying that I just didn't think it was that good.
One of my favorite lines, which
See, the problem is you had Will Smith in it. I mean, I put up with him when he was Hancock. I mean, why do I want to?
Hey, I liked Hancock.
Oh, I like.
Did you really? With Justin
did.
Bateman? Really?
I'm sorry, but I liked
Stop.
Hancock. I did.
Stop, please.
I did.
Stop. You're killing me here. We still got 15 minutes, I think.
I don't know. 12.
But one of my favorite lines from Suicide Squad was with Harley Quinn, where she's shooting through the roof and she goes, "You're ruining date night!" And it was Ben Affleck on the top of the roof, who had this sort of cameo. And I think Affleck, the more you see of him, you're going to like him. But I think if I was Marvel, I'd still, I wouldn't be overly concerned, but I'd be a little bit concerned that maybe DC is finally getting their act together. Finally.
It's debatable. All right, so stars, if you were to...
And that's what we're doing. We're debating.
Out of 5 stars here, how many stars would you give Wonder Woman?
I really like the film. I would give it 5 stars. Wow. I would. And you're talking to somebody who is a Linda Carter fan, who liked the original Wonder Woman TV series and watched it every time it was on. So I would give it 5 stars. I think even Linda Carter would like the film.
I'd give it 4.5. I mean, I'm not going to say it was the best superhero movie I've ever seen, but it was right up there. Okay. And actually, one of the reasons I give it 4.5 is because where was Linda Carter in this movie? You know, all these movies, they try to go out of their way a little bit to get a cameo by an original actor. She wasn't in it. I was a little disappointed.
True. But they did have the Princess Bride in there.
Okay.
So
let me.
I get a point for that.
So let me just throw this out there, and we're going to talk about it in just a couple of moments here after we talk Guardians. But seeing Wonder Woman, did it give you any excitement for Justice League and want to go out and spend the money to see Justice League?
Yeah, I think it did.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wanna see-
absolutely.
Okay.
I wanna see what they're gonna do with
Russ
her.
is right. See, they got a slow start, but they're finally catching up to pace with what Marvel's been doing.
Yes.
Get the head out of their fannies, what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Finally.
All right.
Took them long enough.
Guardians of the Galaxy,
Woohoo!
Part 2. Thoughts, John?
Still, again, very well done movie. I like the first one better than the second one. I think because probably the characters were so new. I had never read the comic before seeing this movie.
Yeah.
In the second movie, it was good. I mean, it had the music. It had all the people. I mean, I liked Kurt Russell as Ego. You know, and it's one of those things when, you know, you think a person's going to be the good guy, a good guy in the movie, you know, he's Star-Lord's father, whatever, and then he turns out to be the big bad guy in the end. It's a twist. I get disappointed.
Hey, Adrian, you like that?
Oh, he had his little cameo, sure, as the head of the Ravagers.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know, it bothers me when a good guy, you think a good guy's going to be a good guy and he turns out to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But
Kurt
then you
Russell as
also
an
had
actor,
the
I like
reverse
as a
in that
good
movie
guy.
where you had a Ravager who, you know, I'm going to eat you. They never had turned blood. Turns out to be a good guy in the end.
I don't know that he was a good guy. I think he just was still...
He did some really bad things, but in the end, he
You know, he ate
done
this
some
guy,
really bad things.
but in the
Well,
end, he was, he
was all right.
He was okay.
Okay, he murdered a bunch
forgave
of
him.
children.
Huh?
He did murder a bunch of children, so we'll give him that.
So,
Yeah.
what was your thoughts, Russ?
I liked it. I thought it was rather interesting seeing Groot as a baby, which I thought was hilarious
Yeah,
in
it
the scenes
was.
they did with
It
Groot.
was.
Rocket, I thought, was still astonishingly good even in the second film. And I thought seeing teenage Groot at the very end was definitely good for a laugh.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
it was.
You know,
What about David Baptista growing into this role? I mean, this isn't a guy who's normally an actor, but he's part of the mix with Christopher Pratt. And what did you think as far as him being a supporting role?
I think it was similar.
Okay.
yeah.
I think it was similar to the first movie. I really didn't see his part grow at all.
Okay.
Maybe that's my disappointment. Like, there wasn't really a lot of growth from the characters, but you know, they're the characters that you liked in the first movie. So I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on what it is about the second movie I didn't like as much as the first film.
I just felt the story. I liked the idea of going. I didn't mind going and spending the money.
Yeah.
Just to see the progression. And let's not forget, again, it's going to tie into Infinity War 1 and 2, and somehow the Guardians are going to be introduced into this mix somehow, some way, because of the Infinity Stones. But I just felt there was a lack. There was more CGI than storytelling. And I think there has to be some kind of a mix.
But I thought
Kurt Russell was okay.
I thought there was some good characterization, and my favorite line out of the whole movie is still, "I'm freaking Mary Poppins." I thought that was such a great line.
That was
And
awesome.
there's what cracks me up is there's now someone's generating a petition. They're coming out with a new Mary Poppins movie. Someone's generating a petition to have him in a just sort of a walk-on role behind Mary Poppins. And I would love to see that happen, just because there would be so many science fiction fans who'd be sitting here watching Mary Poppins going, "Hey, no, that couldn't have been."
My favorite part was when they were locked up and they were sending Groot to go get the thing for the
button.
arrow. Yeah, the button. And he
button.
comes back and
And
he
he-
goes, "A toe? Are you kidding me? A toe?" We'll talk about this later. It's like, there was some cutesy stuff like that.
Well, I thought you were talking about when Groot was dealing with the two buttons, trying to figure out one's a 5-minute delay and the other one's instantaneous.
No,
and
no,
He was
no,
constantly trying to figure out which button he's
No,
supposed
but
to be pushing.
that was funny too. But we saw that in the commercial. I think they kind of got burnt out, so to speak.
I still liked it.
Okay, so if we go around the room real quick here, as to how many stars you would give it, Russ, out of 5 stars.
I'd give it 4 stars. Not as excellent as the first film, but again, I think what John said, which is some of the shine may have worn off because you know these characters now. But I still liked it. And a 4-star movie is still a 4-star movie. It's still a good film.
John?
I agree. 4 stars. I think it was still very well done. It was just a little something not quite right for me to give it a 5th star.
Okay. I'll give it 3.5.
Why?
3.5 stars.
Why is that?
I just don't feel it was 4.
Oh, all right.
It's my prerogative, that's why.
Your prerogative.
And actually, we didn't think about this, but in the last segment we talked about dynamic duos, and when you think about Groot and Rocket too,
Yes, Groot and Rocket.
especially the first film.
Exactly.
I think
Yep.
the first film, obviously, they were quite the dynamic duo. The second movie with Baby Groot, he wasn't. There wasn't as much between just the two of them. Groot was like all over the place. Everybody was
Yeah.
kind of like trying to take care of Baby Groot.
That line cracked me up where they're like, "Put your seatbelt on, Groot."
Yeah.
And he's sitting there eating popcorn, watching everything happen.
Yes.
So we got some movies coming out. I teased it earlier about Justice League and with Wonder Woman in correlation with that. We got Spider-Man Homecoming. We have Thor, the third Thor, Ragnarok, which is going to be fantastic.
Third Thor. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah. Thoughts on? Let's start with the Spider-Man Homecoming.
I think the promos look great.
It's looking good. It's looking like good Spider-Man action. It's weird how they're tying Iron Man into it because Iron Man was not really a big part of the original comics, being like a tutor for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I kind of I'm worrisome about that they've taken a lot of the originality out of how he got his powers in the suit.
Right.
Kind of reading a couple of things off of IMDb.com. Peter Parker is exploring the concept of becoming an Avenger. We saw him, of course, in
last
that
Avenger movie.
third
Yes.
Captain America.
Yep.
Tony Stark tries to help Peter, but doesn't have full faith in Spider-Man to become a hero. And so Peter Parker, a.k.a. Spider-Man, sets off to prove he is worthy to become an Avenger.
I think the promos look good for it, and I'm curious to see what they do with Spider-Man. And yes, it is a bit of a twist having Iron Man in there. It's like almost, part of me cringes a little bit at that, because that's not the Spider-Man I knew growing up,
Right.
watching the TV series when they had a TV series for Spider-Man. So I kind of cringe a little bit about that.
Going to spend the money to see it?
Yes.
John?
Oh yeah, I'll go see it. I'm not gonna, just boycott it because of a few differences, unlike Russ with the Star Trek movies. I will actually go see a movie, even though I may not agree with
I
how
still
I
have
see
seen
it.
those Star Trek movies.
Yeah, that's
I
nice.
have gone to see them.
Don't.
Under protest, but
don't
he
go
saw
there.
them.
Yeah, I
well,
know.
yeah, but I went with an open mind saying, please don't screw this up, please don't screw me up. And every time I left the theater, I went, oh my God, they screwed it up again.
Okay. Ragnarok. This is going to be good. Love the promos already.
The promo's on fire.
Oh my
isn't
God.
it?
Thor's in prison on the other side of the universe and finds himself in a race against time to get back to Asgard to stop Ragnarok, the destruction of his homeworld, and the end of Asgardian civilization at the hands of the all-powerful new threat, the ruthless Hela.
The promos do look amazing.
Okay.
My favorite line from the promo is when he runs in a Hulk and he's like, I know this guy, I work with him.
It's a friend for work. Yes,
Yes.
I know. It's awesome. But I still love it in the original Avengers when they got done on the ground and they had one of those big that had carried all the armies, and they were able to ground it, and they walk off and they look around and the Hulk just punches them. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I'm looking forward to that.
Some great lines from that. I have an army, we have a Hulk.
Puny God. Let's talk a little bit about Justice League. We just got a couple of moments left here.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to this? Again, this is
I'm
in the wake
looking
of
forward
Clark
to-
Kent, Superman dying.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's dead. If you look at the end of the last film,
What
you
gives
see
that
those
away?
the floating rocks.
trembling?
The
Oh,
floating
yeah.
rocks, they're trembling, yes.
Well,
But-
if you're a fan of the comic
Yeah.
book when they killed him, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Russ, it's your time to close things out and tell us about any upcoming comic.
Oh yeah, we got a couple of things coming up.
All right, so we get 2 minutes.
I'll try and make this fast then. Middleborough Paracon is literally tomorrow in Middleborough, Mass. That does look interesting for people who are into the paranormal and stuff like that. This looks like a fun event. And just other conventions and comic book stuff coming up. Edward James Olmos, who was Battlestar Galactica, Blade Runner, and Blade Runner 2049, will be at Super Mega Fest in the fall.
Yep.
So that's in October. Along with Lee Majors and Lindsay Wagner, yes, the Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman. Yeah. Used to do that when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, me too.
So
Who
definitely
did?
Really
looking
good,
forward to
but
on.
And
didn't
what-
make me
Everybody made that
faster.
noise running when they were a kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do it in slow-mo. And one last thing to bring up, Rhode Island Comic Con, a couple really good names. Peter Weller will be there, RoboCop, Melody Anderson, and Sam Jones from Flash Gordon.
And it was just announced Gene Simmons
Yeah.
from Kiss,
Yeah.
and the gentleman you heard earlier, his son, John Aston. You heard the interview. Sean Aston will be there as well.
Yeah.
So that's-
Anthony Michael Hall from Dead Zone and Weird Science, and Norman Reedus from Walking Dead, and Peter Soder from Super Troopers. So I'm definitely looking forward to
And that's
Rhode
all the
Island
time
Comic-Con.
we have. And I want to thank the great crew we have behind the glass. I want to thank you guys for coming all the way over here to Whitman. And until next time, you have been watching Talking Trek. Have a good one.